I Am My Best Work, a series of roadmaps, reports, recipes, doodles, and prayers from the front lines. Word of Audrey Lord. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Cross Street Chapel's Sunday service. I'm grateful for your presence here in person as well as online. I'm grateful for the new year, and I hope you've all had sort of a blessed sort of turning from the old to the new, which I'm sure we will touch on a couple times later this morning. Whatever reason you have come here, be it a space to find a space where you can celebrate and rejoice in laughter, whether you've come looking for a space of reflection and sorrow, where maybe you can shed some tears. Perhaps you've come looking just for a few words of wisdom, or maybe you've simply come just wanting a chance to rest with the divine. Whatever it is that has brought you here today, I hope you will find what you're seeking, as well as a warm community. And like our own Unitarian community, we connect with other chapels around the globe today in the lighting of our chalice. Today we have the words of David Johnson. We light this chalice as a symbolic act to inaugurate a time when rituals have meaning, when stories tell the truth, and the Spirit speaks louder than words of the transcendent mystery of creation and of our place in the universe. So please join with me in singing our first hymn in the Green Book, number 136, Our Kindred Fellowship, hymn number 136. We join together in prayer, which is concluded by our covenant, which you'll find in your order of worship and will be printed online for those following on YouTube. But first, a moment of prayer. Eternal Presence, thank you for the briskness of life as it wraps around and twirls us through our activities, spinning deep into our being, shaping us, giving birth to who we are. Thank you for the time of quietness and contemplation, the still waters that reflect clearly our thoughts, passions, concerns, and insecurities. Thank you for the myriad joys we encounter, from bright skies, warm friendship, to the silent flower, whose beauty is not marred by its size. Thank you for the times of trial and difficulty, and remind us, as Julian of Norwich has, that all shall be well. For though we are strong and have built many castles, we remain as fragile as the flower. Though we are as audacious as the sun, we are as tumultuous as the storms. Let our lives encompass the totality of our being, today and all days. Amen. And please recite with me our covenant. We gather here in sacred fellowship to witness the fullness of our lives and all life, to hold and be held, tell stories and listen, to be renewed and renew the world. We speak with care and patience. We act with gentleness and compassion. We forgive each other and ourselves. In faith that we build beloved community, we renew our covenant today. Amen. And so I invite Peter Sampson to come forward with our first reading, The Journey of the Magi by T.S. Eliot.
This season of the year in the Christian calendar of Epiphany, the visit of the three wise men, or the Magi, or we three kings, as in the carol "We Three Kings of Orient Are." I'm always kind of reminded and almost prompted to recall T.S. Eliot's account of the visit of whoever these mysterious people were, astrologers possibly, or even, as Eliot himself mentions in the poem, kings from neighboring principalities to Bethlehem, I guess. A cold coming we had of it, just the worst time of the year for a journey, and such a long journey. The ways deep and the weather sharp, the very dead of winter. And the camels, galled, sore-footed, refractory, lying down in the melting snow. There were times we regretted the summer palaces on slopes, the terraces, and the silken girls bringing sherbet. And then the camel men cursing and grumbling and running away and wanting their liquor and women, and the night fires going out, and the lack of shelters, and the cities hostile, and the towns unfriendly, and the villages dirty and charging high prices. A hard time we had of it. At the end, we preferred to travel all night, sleeping in snatches, with the voices singing in our ears saying that this was all folly. Then at dawn, we came down to a temperate valley, wet below the snow line, smelling of vegetation, with a running stream and a watermill beating the darkness and 3 trees on the low sky. And an old white horse galloped away in the meadow. Then we came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel. 6 hands at an open door dicing for pieces of silver, and feet kicking the empty wineskins. But there was no information, and so we continued, and arrived at evening, not a moment too soon, finding the place. It was, you may say, satisfactory. All this was a long time ago, I remember, and I would do it again, but set down this. Were we led all that way for birth or death? There was a birth, certainly. We had evidence, and no doubt. I had seen birth and death, but had thought they were different. This birth was hard and bitter agony for us, like death, our death. We returned to our places, these kingdoms, but no longer at ease there in the old dispensation, with an alien people clutching their gods. I should be glad of another death.
Thank you, Peter. We now have a chance to share our joys and sorrows. If you wish to come forward and light a candle and say a few words, please come to the microphone so those listening online are able to participate. If you are online and you wish to have a candle lit, please write in the chat box and I will make sure to read out any message you have for our wider community. And of course, you can always light a candle in silence. And if you wish to keep your joy or your sorrow, your trial or your triumph personal and private, hold on to it for yourself. That is absolutely fine. Know that your presence here is enough. And I wanted to begin with my son Thomas. Over the holiday, over the past couple weeks that I've been away, he has made, he's made clear, no uncertain terms, that he was finished with the cots. He did this by launching himself out of it. And when we placed him back in, he ran with an energy that I hadn't seen before. So we, that evening, had to dismantle it. We had a bed, set up and in store for this moment. But we're in that period now of transition for him. But of course, just always those, they keep growing old. So thank you.
Some 12 years ago, when I was finished with the professional theatre for good, I set up an amateur company, the Operetta Company, which we successfully have run shows every year since. However, the pandemic we have lost 30 members of our company, which has made it impossible to carry on. So this afternoon, I'm taking a memorial service for the 13 people that we have lost over this pandemic, none incidentally with COVID. But I'm lighting that candle a little for myself, but for the 13 people we have lost. Thank you.
I was looking through old files, as one does perhaps at this time of year, and came across a famous quotation, a thought for the new year, which King George VI, in a Christmas broadcast on the 25th of December 1939, quoted. "And I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, 'Give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown.' And he replied, 'Go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than light and safer than a known way.'"
From Adam, a candle of hope that the goodwill shown at Christmas time and New Year to help people who are homeless or in need of help will continue through the year. And from Vicky, a candle for all the international students who will return to Abbey College tomorrow. For all those joys and sorrows here spoken, and those that remain silently in our hearts. We turn now to our second hymn, again in the Green Book, number 33, Emily Lenore Lookthorne's Do You Hear, hymn number 33.
Sky through the land, do you hear?
Our second reading today is by the poet, journalist, speaker, and disability rights activist Laura Hershey. What you risk telling your story, you will bore them. Your voice will break. Your ink spill and stain your coat. No one will understand. Their eyes become fences. You will park yourself forever on the outside, your differentness once and for all revealed and dangerous. The names you give to yourself will become epithets. Your happiness will be called bravery, denial. Your sadness will justify their pity. Your fear will magnify their fears. Everything you say will prove something about their God or their economic system. Your feelings that change day to day, kaleidoscopic, will freeze in place, brand you forever, justify anything they decide to do with you. Those with power can afford to tell their story or not. Those without power risk everything to tell their story and must. Someone somewhere will hear your story and decide to fight, to live and refuse compromise. Someone else will tell her own story, risking everything. Telling by Laura Hershey. We now have a responsive reading, which you'll find in your order of worship. I'm afraid it's not online, though it is simple enough for those who are listening online. The response is, here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. So there will be a bit of a pause after each statement, and then all of those here in person who have the order of worship, all of those listening online, again, the statement, here is a place, here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. For those we have hurt in any way, whether through words or deeds or thoughts, here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. For the excuses we have made just to be right, here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. For the blame we have placed on someone else again and again, here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. For passing up the opportunity to help because we were afraid, here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. For hiding the truth from someone, here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. For working beyond the anger and resentment, here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. For the times I have not felt heard, here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. Forgiveness is never easy, whether for yourself or someone else. Here is a place to forgive and to be forgiven. And so we return to a time of prayer, which will be concluded by a silence. For the uncertainty of this season, we thank you. Though we may curse it, may it continue to fulfill our lives. When our spirits are dry and dusty, when our voices are hoarse, from challenging the injustices of the world. Send us the cleansing rain that washes our soul and renews our parched lips. When the world feels like a tunnel, and our vision is kept from the horizon by present calamities and thunderstorms, dispel the clouds with a burst of sunshine, piercing our hearts with joy and faith. As the days grow longer and our commitments follow suit, retire from us the day for a little while, such that we can know rest and know ourselves. May our evenings know the occasional jubilation. May our families know compassion, our friends companionship, our strangers understanding, our enemies love. May we tend to all those that we can. And so we enter into a period of silence for reflection, meditation, contemplation, and personal prayer. Please join with me in singing our next hymn, number 52, Divinity is Round Us, Sophia Leon Paz's hymn, number 52. So how have your New Year's been? I hope all right. As I said at the start, that sort of turning from the old year into the new. For myself, as I've tried to reflect on the new year, and I know that we're entering into the second week of the new year, but it's my first service, so please bear with me if you are already sort of midway through January and I'm still lagging behind as if it's the 31st. So in reflecting on the new year, what occurred to me was sort of a sense of challenging feelings and having difficulty of actually expressing what it is. It's that rush of anticipation at starting new things, at being able to, that sort of excitement at the potential that the new year might bring, but at the same time an awareness, as I think we all have, of things from the previous year, which are definitely going to be carrying on. And you can read that as a not so oblique reference to Omicron and coronavirus. The precarity of our present life is bound to bring in these anxieties, this challenge between, these dueling challenges between wanting to push forward, but also feeling held back and feeling aware of those forces that cause us to take pause and to maybe step a bit slower than we may wish to. A friend commented recently that staying inside for them reduces anxiety but increases depression. Whereas going out into the world, as we know, the sort of community, the collaboration with one another is great for helping people reduce depressive feelings, but under present circumstances can increase anxiety. So we're stuck in this limbo between two difficult scenarios and little possibility of a resolution. No wonder this is the year 22, as if we are caught in our own catch-22. Such a dilemma brought to my mind the Roman god Janus, after which the month of January has been named. Janus, or Janus, as you may know, has two faces, one which faces into the past and one into the future. But we might look at these faces as looking upon different elements of the world and ourselves. There is, as my friend expressed, the face towards anxiety, and there's the face towards depression. There's the face that has anticipation and new beginnings, and then there's also the face which is looking at those continuing threats. There's the face that wants to be active and wants to be busy and wants to see all the glamour and excitement in life. And there's the face that wants to just rest and close its eyes and sleep for a while. There's one final possibility of interpretation of Janus. The face that is looking outside at the world and face that is turned inwards at ourselves. And just as Janus has two faces, looking in opposite directions, we shouldn't shy away from looking at our own interior lives. New Year's is a time, of course, for making resolutions, though more and more people that I speak to, and I note you're shaking your head, Peter, many I know do not carry on with resolutions or find a way to sort of make it a sort of positive thing, a positive sort of affirmation in life. But for many people, there are the conventional resolutions of perhaps less alcohol, less smoking, fewer sweets, all external markers of health and healthy living. And I'm not going to decry that. Don't worry too much. But that is looking at ourselves, but from the outside, looking at the numbers on the scale, looking at how other people might be looking at us. So I'm not advocating a life of license and excess, but looking at ourselves as others may see us, or trying to conform our bodies to the world's expectations, deprives us and the world of something which is truly remarkable, truly beautiful, and truly unique. Something so remarkable that we take it for granted every single moment of every day, and that is our own embodiedness. Think about it. No one experiences the fullness of living in our body except us. What a gift to be given, to have a body that we call our own. Perhaps we are at times unhappy with our body, or it gives us difficulty or poses challenges, very often challenges that the world exacerbates. But still, this relationship with our body is wholly our own. It's a blessing for us to know our body so intimately. And when we make these conventional resolutions as if other people are judging us on our bodies, if we're making ourselves into their judgments, if we're occupying ourselves with their judgments, then we do not know our body as intimately as we should. Which is unfortunate not just for us, but for the world. For it is through our body that we have our agency. Our capacity to live within our body is what gives us the ability to enact the changes we want to see in the world, to create a more just, a more loving and compassionate world. Laura Hershey's poem draws upon these blessings. There is a risk in telling stories, particularly writing from the vantage of a body that's considered disabled. The risk that people will project onto our lives, or the risk that people will use our lives for their advantages. So obviously, some of these resolutions may be helpful for preserving our body. And like I said, I'm not encouraging people to drink more or smoke more or eat more sweets, although I know I'm very likely to continue on my chocolate binging. These resolutions may help us live longer or to feel healthier. But the focus must be on that verb to feel, to know within ourselves and our own body's needs. Conventional resolutions aren't necessarily bad, but they just risk being a bit of a cliche. One piece of advice that I'd received this New Year's was to avoid cliches. amongst them being the expression, "New Year, New You." To which I say, "New Year, New You, no thanks. I will keep my body. I will feel my body. I will feel what my body needs, and in those moments seek to provide it what it needs." Part of Janus is accepting the fullness of our lives. Clichés avoid an authentic introspection of ourselves. These conventional resolutions perhaps fall into the trap of the cliché. And I do recall that, of course, people may want to make these resolutions if their body very authentically is telling them to eat fewer sweets. May we have a resolution to better know ourselves, to better appreciate ourselves, a resolution to know that gifts that we already have, those ones that are innate and embodied. Amen. A few notices before we conclude our service. If you're in need of pastoral care or need to get in touch with me, you can speak with me here if you're here in person, or if you need to write via email, you can contact me at minister@crossstreetchapel.org.uk. We're always looking for volunteers to help with greeting, with tea and coffee, the IT, and so forth, providing readings. So if you wish to participate in the service, do let me know. And we have a chapel mailing list, so if you wish to join that, please write to me at minister@crossstreetchapel.org.uk. We have tea and coffee after today's service. Many thanks to Alan for the preparation and for the serving that will occur soon. Our next Friday lunchtime recital is set to be the 28th of January at 1 p.m. I'm afraid I don't have the details to hand about who it is, but we never disappoint. I think I can say that for the 25 years that we've been doing this. It's been a splendid performance every month that we've been able to, past couple years accepting difficulty. But so that really starts on the 28th. If you miss it, we're recording them, so we'll hopefully be able to have it online as well. We're grateful as well for any donations that can assist the mission of our chapel. You're able to donate online at tinyurl.com/crossstreetdonate. And you can email me if you wish to set up a standing order. If you're here in person, we have a retiring collection, and as well envelopes available for UK taxpayers, both individuals for one-offs, or if you wish to be part of an envelope scheme where you receive a booklet that you can bring back every week, then let us know and we can set you up for that. Are there any announcements from the congregation? Let us then sing our final hymn, again in the Green Book, number 155, Be True, Live Truly, hymn number 155. Many thanks to Peter for the reading, to Hal for the music. I believe, I'm not sure, I think our flowers may have come from Janet, our lettings administrator, to Emma for the IT, and to Alan for the tea and coffee. And thank you to all of you for creating and sharing worship. We close with the words of Malala Yousafzai. Believe in yourself, believe in your voice, believe in the dedication and determination that you hold for the things that you believe in. You can make it happen. Amen. Go in peace.